What have you done with Le Guru du MMA? I don't know what happened to Le Guru du MMA.
He's back, very much needed.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Ya blood clot! Me a damn Roblox character, you know, with me traps and thing coming up there, you see it there? Do you see it there? Me trap coming through up there, you know? Ya blood clot of a thing, money ever make the trap climbing up me shoulder thing, you know? Sorry, I'll stop.
How much do you value robberies when it comes to the legacy for fighters? For example, nearly all of Romero's losses could have been wins for him. No, I disagree with that take completely. Thank you for the $5. I don't mind the robbery thing when it comes to the legacy of fighters, but not all of Romero's losses could have been wins for him. The Adesanya one I agree with. Yeah. The Whittaker ones I don't agree with. You can't give him a 10-8 in round 5. I disagree with that. Well, no, you can't give him a 10-8 in round 3 of that fight. Whittaker didn't even really get dropped in round 3. If you know, you know. He actually didn't even touch the ground. He sunk for a bit and stumbled backwards. And then popped right back up and actually shoulder barged Romero. Like, he wasn't that badly hurt in the third. Even though Romero started going crazy on him, he still cracked him back with elbows and shit. He was actually winning the exchange in the pocket in moments in the third, so... Yeah, I disagree with the Romero take. And he clearly lost the first fight to Whittaker. That was clear as can be. So, but I get the whole, robbery thing coming into play with people's legacies. But I think that should be like a deciding factor if two people are neck and neck. Like if you've got two people and you can't decide who's the GOAT and one of them has a robbery win, the other guy's the GOAT. You know what I mean? So that's when it should come into play. I think I remember you telling me the first full pay-per-view you watched was McGregor-Habib. Nah, I never did. I never told you that. I've always said it was McGregor versus Poirier on the DJ versus Caruso card. Thank you for the $5. Impression of Jabli singing Take On Me. Pour on me, pour on me. Sergey versus Lewis 2 might be a casual take, to be honest. I don't mind the Sergey versus Lewis rematch. That's honestly not that bad. But Sergey's fighting Waldo Cortez Acosta. Why are people acting like that fight's not happening? I see everyone bring up Waldo and Sergey, but they are booked against each other on the Abu Dhabi card. You know that, right? Impression of Mikey Mushemi getting brutally flatline KO'd in the streets by a guy who only boxes casually and thinks BJJ is a type of gay porn.
I'm a fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and one of the best in the world.
Yeah, you're fucking gay. That's what you are, kid.
You're gonna fucking rue the day when I set up my leg lock and tangle.
Fucking nerd. Somebody had to fucking shut up that fucking dweeb. Thank you for the $5. Impression of True Geordie seeing Islam getting KO'd and pooing on himself. And True Geordie jumps the cage to smear it all over himself.
Oh, lovely Patty. I'm wallowing in it, love. Oh, lovely.
I don't know what he would do. You think MVP will ever get a title shot in the UFC? No. Maybe at middleweight. I didn't think about middleweight. Maybe at middleweight. It's just they're a bit too well-rounded at welterweight. Like Sean Brady if I can twist him up into a pretzel, but... At middleweight, maybe. It depends. They might give him like Chimaev off a loss if that ends up happening. You know what I mean? It depends on the matchups. Why is nobody putting... I'd love to see like MVP Adesanya or some shit, or MVP Whittaker, or MVP versus a striker at middleweight. That would be great. Why is nobody putting Nunes in the GOAT list? People forget, man. She's a woman, though. It doesn't really count. Thank you for the 18 months of membership. That's like the extreme Anderson Silva example. You know what I'm saying? Where literally, I know Anderson Silva, we say his opponents couldn't fight, but they could at least maybe throw a punch. You know? Whereas Nunes' opponents are like just, you know, literally women. Did you see Jordan Vucenic I did! Stop reminding me every day that Jordan Vucenic got cut from the UFC. I get it, man. I'm sad. I've cried all the tears there are to cry. He'll be back. Okay? And I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to pull some strings. I'm going to do what I can to get him back in the UFC, dude. This has been a project I've been working on for the past 5-6 years. You think I'm just going to give up on him now? No. He made a mistake. He became Downs for a moment in time in his UFC fight. It's a very unfortunate time to become Downs. Okay? And it happened to him within a 30-second window where he stuck his head in Chris Duncan's guillotine. Now, he's going to make it back. I believe. He'll make it back, dude. He'll go 3-0 on the regional scene and be back before you know it. 2027, dude. We're thinking long term. This was a long term play. Respect from Scotland, Guru. Hope you're well, bro. I'm doing good. And shout out to the Scots. Yo, Prax.
Yo, fucking shaybugs, man.
Sorry. Can we get the longest Derek Lewis battle cry after he ground and pounds his wife while Jones watches with joy? And way to go, Derek. Wait, what's this? Yucky. Yucky. I didn't think this is what you meant by ground and pound.
Boo! Man, fuck that, y'all. I was joking, y'all. I really meant fucking her, y'all.
Yucky. Yuck. What are you doing, Derek? That's John Jones. Mikey Muschiemi and Joe Rogan sexual dialogue from a heel hook position. Mikey Muschiemi and Joe Rogan sexual dialogue from a heel hook position.
This is where I've always wanted to be with someone.
And gay, folks. No, Mikey Muschiemi, folks. Impression of Korean zombie as rooftop Korean shoots, John Jones. I don't know about that stuff. You'll stay on my store. Random, but Zabit versus Prime Holloway. Who wins? Zabit fans, it's just... I don't know who wins that one, dude. Who knew? Who knows, dude? Is it the guy who can't fucking knock out anyone ever, no matter how many wheel kicks he throws, and can't go into the 4th round ever? Or is it Max Holloway? Honestly, dude, I have no idea. No idea, dude. I'll throw you a question back. Who wins? 5-rounder, Kyle Bochniak or Zabit Magomedsharipov? Now we're talking. But he schooled Qatar, bro. He did school Qatar for 2 rounds. And then he was getting broken in the 3rd round by Calvin Kattar. Because why? Why was it a 3-round fight? Because they were the co-main event. And the UFC wanted to make them the main event. They did make them the main event. Calvin Kattar said, I'm down for that. I'm down for being a main event. They asked to go 5 rounds. And Zabit said, I'm not doing it if it's 5 rounds. 3 rounds only. Before telling me, he had something going on in the build-up to the Bochniak fight. He made it the first 3-round main event in UFC history. In Russia, UFC Fight Night Moscow. Because he didn't want to go 5 rounds. He would not have been able to beat Holloway in a 5-round fight. Not a fucking chance. And Kattar had a decent 2nd round, but... You know, Zabit was hitting his gloves with, like, wheel kicks and the crowd was going, oh! Like that, you know. Like, there was a lot of that going on, but I did think that Zabit won pretty clear. Singing pooing in reverse for my viewing pleasure. Pig. Poo in reverse. John Jones' favourite active here. Imagine Jones versus Pereira and Conor versus Colby at the UFC White House. No, why would you do that? Do Jones versus Aspinall. Jesus Christ. Canadian recommendation. Conor Colby? Ugh. What are you talking about? Conor Colby and Jones Pereira. Fuck those matchups. Jones versus Aspinall and Conor versus someone else. I don't mind the Colby one though. I don't know. If Conor can just fight anyone. Changed to 3 rounds, moved to Moscow. Moved to Moscow, exactly, yeah. And you'll never guess where they were originally meant to fight. Boston. Yeah, for Calvin Kattar, right? That's shit, actually. That is awful in hindsight, right? Dude, Calvin Kattar, let it be known, yeah. Calvin Kattar flew from Boston to Russia to fight Zabit Magomedsharipov to make that fight stay in place. And Zabit wouldn't even make it 5 rounds and made it the first 3-round main event of all time. Insane. How much Kattar was willing to do to get that fight to stay together and how little Zabit was willing to do. And he still nearly broke him in the 3rd round as well. I don't know why he threw the fucking flying knee though. He's retarded, I guess. Is Bedtime MMA Australian or Black American? He's Australian, but he's obsessed with like Flight Reacts, Curry, Steph Curry. He's like a wigger, basically, right? He does a lot of like Zoomer slang, finna this, on crit. Like I say ironically, but he does as well. Maybe he does it ironically as well. But that's his niche, you know. He's a Zoomer. But I think he, like, I don't know. I have never heard him actually directly reference Flight Reacts, but I know that's his niche, you know? I really know that's his niche. If yes or no, chat, if he had a face camera on, I really believe this. If he had a face cam on for his videos, you'd see him doing this a lot more. You know? That type of shit. I bet you anything. He would do that, like, a lot, I reckon, if he had a constant face cam on. That's just his type of... That's his world, friend.
You're in Bedtime's world, friend. You're a Flight Reacts comment section, folks. Come to life.
I don't know. That's the vibe I get. It's not even like an insult. It's just like a soul read, in a way. I don't know. Sometimes I'm on an NBA Instagram comment section. I'll be like, oh, that's where Bedtime got that joke from. You know? Like, I'll be in an NBA comment section. I'll be like, that's where Bedtime got his way of describing that from. You know what I mean? That's where Bedtime got that way of speaking from. That's where Bedtime got that little way of summing things up from. And I don't know. You notice it, you know. I think he's a big basketball fan, if I had to guess. But he's cool. He just picked Teixeira like a fucking loser. Zulala. Bedtime claiming not to be from New Zealand is definitely something someone from New Zealand would do. Or maybe he just moved to Australia, but I'd bet money on that accent. I don't hear it. I don't hear it at all. I hear this. This is the accent I hear from him. You know, that's how it is. I hear that. Does anybody else hear that from Bedtime? I just feel like the Australian accent kind of like, it changes over time, you know? They didn't all sound like fucking Down syndrome cows at one point, you know what I'm saying? But now they do. You know? You used to go to Australia and a woman would tell you no and go, no. But now they go, no. So it's like a little bit of a tweak, you know? Things change over there with that retarded ass accent. You know what I'm saying? No. Fucking rank cunts. On the bottom of the earth like fucking rats under a rock. Thank you for the $2. Impression of Marab swan diving into a volcano.
How is it to train my heat resistance brother to help cut weight?
I don't know. They're just Marab invincibly surviving everything. Thank you for the $5. Been a fan for about 4 months and was curious about how impressions became such a big part of the stream. Or has it just always been that way? Impressions have always been a thing of my life. I'll be real with you. They've always been a thing for my life. Like, even when I was a kid, my mum would have me do impressions for her friends. And I think my dad didn't like it because he thought it'd, like, make me gay or some shit like that. So it kind of stopped. But then when I went to school, I started doing South Park impressions, Family Guy impressions, and things like that all the time. So impressions have permanently been a thing in my life. No matter where I've gone, eventually people have poked and told me to do an impression of this, do an impression of that, do an impression of this. Non-stop throughout my life. Every school, everything. I've been a jester, yeah, exactly. I've been a literally lifelong hired jester for people's entertainment, dude. It's insane. Thank you for the $5. Yeah, you did have a point. Impression of based DDP. Nobody said anything about crime statistics, bro. Chill out. I don't know. Thank you for the $2. Nobody said anything about statistics, bro. Chill out. Is Lucas Tracy schizophrenic? He might be, yeah. I don't know. No, I don't know if he's schizophrenic. I'm not sure. But let it be known, the only time he went live for you guys over the past year was when he felt like he was losing his fan base because of a shit tier list. Oh, God, stop. He actually made like a deal with himself, definitely at some point, to not go live again. And the only time he went live was probably him stressing out in his room after posting the tier list and feeling like he needs to justify himself. Dude, Terrence McKinney called out Michael Chandler. Your son's all grown up, but time for a new man of the house. Lol, no one told me this is how he called him out. How dare you tell me that Terrence McKinney called out Michael Chandler earlier on the stream and not tell me that this is how he called him out? Whoever did that earlier, how fucking dare you, straight up. You know how easily I brushed that shit off and said, Terrence has got a lot more work to do before he gets a Chandler fight. Now I'm in. Now I'm in, dude. Terrence McKinney said, your son's all grown up. Time for a new man of the house. T-Rex versus Iron Mike. Let's see who's the best first RDer. The best first rounder in the lightweight division. Now we're talking, dude. Dude, I want that fight so I can like commentate and say, he's trying to put you on a naughty step, Terrence. Don't have it, Terrence. Can you imagine? Chandler gets a takedown. Don't let him do it, Terrence. He's trying to put you on that naughty step, dude. Don't have it. He's trying to put you in timeout, Terrence. That's what they call him, dude. No timeout, Terrence. Yeah. You know what? It was his editor in Wales that actually tweeted that actually was messaging that shit in my chat. The entire time. Whatever that fucking bullshit story you said, that was the truth. Thank you for the membership. Jim is trying. I appreciate you. I've already read that. Impression of Pirate McGregor plotting on raiding a chest full of Gucci's.
And there'll be a bounty ashore. And once we arrive on the fine horizon, we'll be taking the Gucci's of many a woman here, yeah?
Thank you for the 5. Ali Rahim. Thank you. Thank you for the $5. Why does that feel like a threat? You know what I mean? I don't know why that feels like a threat, but Ali Rahim has just gave me a messageless donation or something. Feels like an ominous threat in some kind of weird way. Thank you for the $5. No offense. Reaches 001. Impression of stoned McGregor high as a kite eating an ice cream bar.
A little ding-dong of a thing. A fucking little ding-dong of a thing, yeah?
When you catch the dude you've been exclusive with for the past 4 months with another... Dude, if anyone... I hate, like, tuning into the rest of the world. They're also fucking Down syndrome, dude. Having to specify that you're exclusive means that you're not at all. Thank you for the 5. David Attenborough.
And here we have Edmund Shabazian of the inverted rib tribe. He lives each day in utter agony, and yet he survives. Truly disabled.
Thank you for the 5. Queen Elizabeth getting her back blown out by Derek Lewis after 2... No, we're not doing that to the Queen. Thank you for the 5. My section was who Derek mooned last night, and the crowd was loud and wild in person, by the way. Upgraded win staff was goated. Yeah, exactly. These guys don't know about the upgrades because they're some rookies. They didn't even get that far on the Easter egg. That's what I'm saying. Thank you for the $5, Fancy Smooth. I appreciate you. Well, and you've been honoured by the mooning of Derek Lewis. Congrats. Watched Wellmaker Jackson podcast. Bear talked about BS the entire time, and I got about 10 minutes in. I got about 10 entire minutes of Malcolm's thoughts. You know how it goes, dude. Someone needs to go on there and just tell Bear to shut the fuck up for a second while they're talking, you know? Impression of Down syndrome Connor wanting D to push him higher on the swing.
Go with it, D! Oh, you swing me away. Okay, Connor. There you go. You're going too high now. I want to spin all the way around the top, D, yeah? Push a bit harder, will you?
However they say harder over there in that fucking retarded country. Retired DC versus Mighty Mouse. Who wins? Retired DC. Impression of Attenborough describing the birth child of Woodson and Lauren Murphy.
Here we have Satan himself. He has spawned on earth. Here we have the birth of the Antichrist. Lightning bolts strike in the air as the hospital delivers such an abomination. Truly disgusting.
I don't know. Thank you for the $2. It's just Raul Rosas Jr. Le Guru de MMA has got it up, but it's got no views in 13 minutes. So he's not really one of the big dogs, you know.